Perfect. Okay, we're recording now. Again, you're totally welcome to chat. You're totally welcome to write things out. You can talk. I don't care. So we'll get started here in about 2 minutes. I'll just kind of wait and see who else gets on. And then I will upload this recorded video to our class online to Canvas.
There you go. At the bottom of that receipt is going to be your next meeting for $1.99.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Of course. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
What my family's doing? Just kidding. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. And like I said, I'll put the recording up. I mean, you're here now, so you don't need to worry about it. But so welcome to Comms 101 Online. I think this is going to be an interesting adventure, partly because you aren't going to see my face anywhere in this class except for when we do webinars or whatever the case might be. This class was actually created by Dr. Zurcher, and she recruited some other professors in the comms studies and in just the communication school generally. And so there's lots of recordings of them and none of me. So I'm an adjunct professor. And so I just kind of do things as they assign them to me, which is fine by me. It gives me a lot of flexibility because my personal goal is to try to balance being a mom and then having this career as well. So you'll probably learn a little bit more about me as we go along, but I just want to let you know, welcome, and that's why I'm hosting this webinar instead of the TAs. They'll probably host them in the future, but I'll log on as well, just in case there's any questions that you have specifically for me. So I want to get started by kind of just orienting you to Canvas and to this class, because this can be, we've had some emails already just about a few things. So let me just kind of show you the patterns of what is expected in the class, and then also give you a chance to ask any questions that you might have about this class in addition to the emails. So it's just for your information, we have about 100, we have 90, I think. 91, I just barely looked at the numbers, people who are registered for this course. So when we talk about it might take us a little bit to get back to you or to respond to your emails, that's why we're actually trying to deal with 100 people at once. And so please be patient with us in that regard if you feel like you haven't had kind of as quick a feedback as you needed already. So let's just kind of go, again, just go through this. So you have your home page here. Let me move this stuff over. Okay, so this is going to be definitely from like my view of it. I'll come down here and show you the student view. But so what you're going to have here is kind of syllabi, everything that you need, your major assignments, and then just kind of the dates when we're going to be covering specific topics. So I guess I'm just going to give you an opportunity to do that on your own. That's kind of the fun and lame part, well, fun maybe, part of working online. is that you can kind of manage this on your own. I guess my bigger concerns is that you pay attention to these major assignments so you have a sense of what's going to be required of you. Now, they're not the only thing that's counted on your grade. They're just the major assignments that are going to take some forethought and planning and some work, where we do have some exams and some other things and some discussions as well. But please be mindful of those, and please pay attention to them a little bit more, in a little bit more detail, so you have time to plan ahead. I guess the reason I say that is because with online classes, I think it's easy to kind of wait last minute and then be like, oh, I have all this stuff due, I better get it done as soon as possible. And some of these assignments won't allow that to work. This interviewing one in particular, partly because you are going to be contacting someone else and you're going to be working with someone else on this interview. And unless you have someone in your family who already is a communication specialist, then trying to find somebody to interview can be kind of difficult. So just be mindful of that. So we have this homepage. We'll have announcements, which I'm assuming you're getting to your email. They'll be here. And then the modules. This is where you want to spend most of your time and pay the most attention, because this is just kind of how you're going to walk through the class. You'll see you have some orientation information here. I'm going to come back to that. Also some testing. If you haven't taken an online class yet, we use Proctorio. Proctorio, essentially, we record you while you're testing to make sure that you're being honest. It's really basically super creepy, but unfortunately, it's just part of the deal. So also, here's our first week. Okay, so you'll see that there's a date, there's a title to what's going on. Every single week, there will be some kind of welcome, there'll be questions to think about. I suspect you'll probably come down here and look at what's due. That's cool too. There's lots of videos for every week to kind of give you a sense of supporting material in addition to the text. And then there's these discussions. So we'll have a webinar every week, and then we'll have these discussions every week. So let me just click on what's due this week. So you have those videos to watch, which hopefully will be kind of interesting. And then you need to make a media collage. Now there's a description on what you need to do here. And then I just posted this example partly because we're not seeing the quality of work that we hoped to see. So if you have done yours and you want to resubmit it because you want it to look a little bit more professional, that would be great. If you haven't done it yet, or you feel like yours is looking pretty good, don't worry about it. But please be mindful that I've used this example for a reason. When we're talking about collage, we're not talking about just copying and pasting images and putting them on a Word document and saving it to PDF. What we're looking for is actually some artistry and creativity with it. So please be mindful of that. The details on when it's due always come below, like the explanation of what is due. So you need to have your initial post done by Thursday night, which is tomorrow midnight. And then you're going to be replying to 2 of your classmates' posts by midnight Saturday. And so what we've seen so far has been like really excellent postings, like finding something specific that is someone in the class is interested in and talking about maybe why you are interested in them too, or asking them questions and engaging in conversation. All of those things are a really important part of responding. If you write things in your responses like, oh, this is cute, or I like this, that's really not what we're looking for, and we probably won't give you full points. So please be mindful that we're looking for some depth. Again, if you look at your classmates and you respond to a why or what type of question, like, well, why did you write that? What insights did you have from what they wrote? Then you'll have better responses, and they'll definitely warrant full points on the assignment. Okay, so that's this week. So I'm going back to modules, and I want to show you what next week looks like, because we have some pieces, some of that pattern from this week, and we're adding a little more to it next week. So next week, we're going to be doing chapter 1 out of the textbook. So that textbook is required. We're going to be doing a reading quiz. So it's a timed reading quiz. You'll have to take it within the allotted amount, but it's open book. So here's what I would recommend. I would recommend that you actually read the chapter first before you take it. Otherwise, you'll run out of time because you'll be trying to find answers, and it won't work so well for you. So if you want to set yourself up for success, you're going to want to read the chapter first and then take the quiz and then use that kind of open book format. We'll also be doing a webinar next week. Instead of it being at 11, it's going to be at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but it'll also be on Wednesday. So on Wednesdays, we'll have a webinar and then your reading quiz, and then again, another like discussion post that needs to be done by Thursday night and then by Saturday night. My goal here initially, it was you had something due every day. And so when they gave me the class, I kind of shifted it. So we have just kind of hit points throughout the week instead of something due every single day. I just felt like that was a little too much. Okay. So you'll notice here that there are some times when you'll have a full date set, but you also have an exam. So not as much will be as expected of you during those weeks, but we will expect you to take some time and take the exam. Now, we have been talking a little bit about late work. I don't typically accept late work unless there's a major crisis going on in your life, or if you're a student athlete and you're in the middle of a tournament. Like if there's something going on and you just can't get things done, then please let me know in advance and then we'll work with you. Otherwise, just expect things to be done on time. And that goes back to part of our just expectation in the communication school of being professional. Okay, so back to these modules. Those are the kind of the pattern of what you're going to be looking at every week, something along those lines, and then some videos again to support the text that you're going to be reading. What questions do you have for me about this class and who's involved? Like as far as like TAs, we have 3 of them, but what questions do you have for us? Wait, maybe I should bring my chat back up. Okay, so is it possible to take exams in the Harmon Center? I don't know, because I don't know what the Harmon Center is. And so, yes, okay. Yay, Taylor's on here. So Taylor's one of our TAs. She's on here. Okay, and are the webinars going to be recorded every week so you don't have to actually log on? That is yes also. We will record them every week so you can watch them. We prefer the interaction, right? Because otherwise, what's the point? We could just be making YouTube videos. So we would prefer that you log on so we can get your questions as you have them. But yeah, I mean, we'll be recording them and posting them as well. What other questions do you have?
Can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Okay. I do have a question. So I think my media collage is one of those garbage ones that you were talking about, the copy and paste Microsoft Word thing.
Right.
My question would be, if I am to redo that, and like for other people that have the same way, because I think a lot of people are the same way with that.
Yeah, yeah.
If you are to delete those and do it again, are the comments that you've left or the comments that people have left on yours, will that be deleted as well? So you'd have to do another 2 comments to these new ones?
No, you once your comments are done, they're done. So
Okay.
This is one of the cool things about Canvas is that we have a way to basically bring up your name and it will list everything that you've already done. So if you resubmit one thing, then these things that you've done as well will not be lost. They'll stay present. Does that kind of make sense? It's kind of like, it kind of lines up everything you've done. It'll give us a whole history of that. So yeah, you wouldn't need to worry about that.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Yeah, that's awesome. So one of the questions that we have is, what will the format of the essays look like? So right now they are essay formatted. However, we're in the process of kind of maybe doing them more multiple choice. So you can get you can get feedback immediately when you take the test. We're still debating on that, like the TAs and I. So, but if you have a preference or you have an interest, or you learn in a certain way, I'm very interested in supporting that. So just let me know, And we'll see what we can do to kind of meet everyone's needs and everyone's interests, both for the tests and for the assignments as well. So even though I don't allow late work, I'm pretty flexible with like negotiating what that assignment looks like up to that date. Does that make sense? Like, not, we're gonna do work, but I hope I'm making sense, like what I mean. So any other questions? Okay, so I have a comment here that says, I noticed the media presentation mentions that it's done as a group. Is that still valid for this online course? And if so, what's to be expected from group work in the course? So that's really, really a really good question. The answer is yes, it's still going to be a group assignment. If you go to the People tab in Canvas, you'll see that we already have groups assigned. And the expectation around that is really your personal proactivity. So you can't see mine because I'm in student view right now. But what we'll do is we'll kind of talk about that a little bit more. Maybe I can put together something around those expectations of group work. We just expect everyone to participate equally, but how do we know that, right? Well, actually, at the end of the semester, you're going to fill out a form that explains how your group worked together. And I like to have my students grade each other so I can get a sense of like how things worked and how they didn't work. So let me also say this, because this will be part of that kind of group work expectation as well. If you assign things to each other and there's one person who kind of just falls out and doesn't do their thing, don't do it for them. If you have holes in your assignment, I want to see the holes because I want to see who did what when. Okay, so when we're talking about group work, my expectation is that you're going to work together, but also that you're going to meet the expectations of your group members as well. And that you're going to try to do your best to fulfill all those. Again, I'll write up some more things or do a video or something for you so you can see some more information on that. Gavin, did that help answer your question? If you just let me know, then I can. And then if any of you have any clarification questions as well, I'm happy, from anything that I've said, I'm happy to respond to those also. Okay, cool. All right, so just a general question that I have for you, so you can respond on chat or through the video or voice, the audio. Is the course making sense so far? Like when you go through it, it feels a little self-explanatory, or does it feel like you're hitting some roadblocks as you're looking at it? And if so, what are the roadblocks? Because we need to kind of work through those. I'm just going to see how many people we have.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Okay. Okay, awesome. That's really, really cool. Okay, so while you're here, I'm just gonna, can you see Taylor here? She's just listening. She's one of our TAs, so she's just kind of sitting in today. And she's just kind of observing how things are going. She's just one of our TAs. We have two more, and they will probably be joining us later. Neither one of them were able to join us today. Taylor will probably be the most present on this course, though. The other two are Abby, and the other one is Tori. So hopefully next week we'll have them online as well, and you can kind of just say hi so you know who you're interacting with, and it doesn't seem like just a faceless experience. So, but I'm glad that everything's working out okay. So again, I kind of think that's all I have, like as far as like making sure that you're oriented. It looks like you've had some really good questions. Unless anybody has something else that they want to ask, I think we'll just stop here and then we'll just kind of keep going. Okay, great question. How far ahead are you allowed to work in the course? Taylor, can you respond to this? Because I don't care. It's just one thing I don't care about. Like, you could finish the whole course in 4 weeks and be done, as far as I'm concerned. Like, traditionally, what have they done? Have you guys kind of measured it a little more?
We haven't really measured it. The only thing that might get a little bit tricky is you can't do the exams before. So
Okay.
They're open for a week. So if you get too far ahead, that might make it a little hard to review like what exactly would be on the exam. But besides that, I mean, you can pretty much work at your own pace as long as you're ahead.
Right. Yes, please don't get behind that. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. So I think that was kind of my thought as well. It's like, I think it'll be the exams that'll be the challenge. Okay, so what are the weekly webinars for exactly? I mean, you don't want to see my face? Just kidding. So they're mostly for this, so we can kind of have some live questions and see and make sure everybody's on the same page. It saves us a lot because, as you can imagine, having 100 people in this class, if everyone's messaging us the same question and we're having to like write answers to that over and over and over again, it gets a little exhausting and then borderline irritating. So what we would prefer to do is to kind of have these moments where we can just you can just ask us questions and we can record them and then anybody can watch it anytime. So no, there's not assignments due with the webinar. They're really just for your pure joy. So, because I mean, don't you feel happy watching this? I don't know. Okay, I love these questions though. These are really, really good questions. So there will be some webinars that will be lesson oriented, that will be structured on an outline where we make sure that we're giving you information and clarifying anything that you have in the text or assignments or whatever the case might be. So that'll be important too. It won't be just me like trying to make you laugh at home even though I can't hear you. I should have maybe tried to be a stand-up comedian. I don't know, like that's why I don't know. Okay, any other questions that you have? I'll just wait for a minute and kind of see if anybody posts anything. If you feel like you're good, you're happy to log off. Oh wait, we got a good one. I think we missed the part about the media collage this week. Was there a rubric or some sort of explanations for the quality of it? Well, the expectation was that you're a university student. And so when we are saying quality, that's it, right? So like, I mean, you can leave it how it is. You can leave if you've already done it and you just copied and pasted, I mean, you can leave it how it is. But I think the expectation is that you're a student that's as close to the Ivy League as you're going to get in the Mountain West. And so we expect you to produce that kind of material. Any other questions that you have? Okay, so this is really great. Like, well, what could we do to make it more quality? So some things that you could do to make it more quality is maybe you could shape it. Maybe if you had more information on there. When we're looking at it to learn about you. And so am I really going to learn anything specific about you? If you'll notice on that one collage that I had, it had media, but it also had other things that she was interested in, like she likes to eat Skittles. That's not necessarily media, but it allows us to get to know her and like what her self looks like represented through that collage. So something along those lines will be helpful if you add information like that. It doesn't have to be that you have to learn Photoshop by tomorrow and that you have to redo it and do it in this really Photoshop way. However, I can probably bring up another one where this individual he did something similar where it was still square, but he basically put his photo in the center and then he kind of like splayed out different media stuff that he was interested in, and they were all kind of copied and pasted boxes. But it gave us a sense of who he was, what he was interested in. There was some design on the page, and so that helped advance the quality. So if you're not super tech savvy or you don't know Photoshop, that can be a great way to do this assignment and still have it look more professional. Yeah, I hope that helps. I'm just going to read another question. So for platforms, I'm not sure what you mean by platforms. Do you mean like software for our collage and future projects? So I'm not sure. Just looking back up here. So I did respond to the question about the format of the exams that you had asked, but as far as the platform of the collage. It can be in Word. It just needs to be a file that Canvas can accept. So if you create it in Word because that's what you know best, or you create it in Google Docs because that's what you know best. Now, mind you, Google Docs has a draw portion to it where you can add little graphics or clip art. You could do that and then convert it to a PDF and upload it. All of that will be fine. That's kind of our bigger concern, is that it's files that you can upload. Something I would love someone to do, I don't know what, I just thought of this yesterday, was you can draw it out. You could draw a collage and take a picture of it and upload a photo. I mean, there's lots of different ways that you can do this. Please don't feel like it has to be a problem. So you can use Adobe Spark, that's fine. You don't have access to Photoshop anymore for free. You're right, Taylor. But you can go to the Media Center on the 4th floor, and they have Photoshop there on the computers there. So if you really want to use Photoshop, you can access it there. But I'm okay with, yeah, like I said, I'm okay with you guys doing all kinds of things with it. You could paint it. Like, I really just want you to be creative with it and not feel like you have to checklist it to get it done, because that's a waste of your time and it's a waste of our time too. Does that make sense? Again, if you feel like you're good with it and you're ready to move on, that's okay too. That's totally fine. I just don't know what your grade will look like. So Nick, let me ask you this question. You're saying you're using Adobe Spark. Do you just go in with Adobe is there an access way to use it? With the email you're saying, is it like, can you do spark.byu.edu? Can you give me more information about that? And then, yeah, thank you, Paul. So Paul's just letting us know you can do Photoshop in the library. Okay. Any other questions, concerns, comments? Hannah, let me know if I got all your questions. Okay, so if you Google Adobe Spark, it'll ask you to log in, and from there, you can use your BYU email is what I'm thinking. That would be fun. You can totally do that. So, okay, cool. So there's no subscription necessary for that. So if that's something that you want to do, that would be fun too. So hopefully you're getting a sense that we want you to have a positive experience with this. We want to interact with you and we want to support you. And so, and we don't want this to feel like this is a checklist. I mean, it is a checklist of things you have to do, but we also want it to be like maybe something that you look forward to a little bit instead of it being like going to get groceries. So, all right, everyone. If that's everything, we'll just kind of wrap it up today. Thank you, those of you who asked questions. That's really important, both for you and for your peers and for me, so we can get a sense of where you're at. And thank you, Taylor, for being here today. So, all right, we'll be in touch. You can totally message us or get a hold of us any way that you need to through Canvas or the emails that I sent out. So, all right, have a good one. We'll see ya.